So good afternoon once again, class. Today we're going to continue our discussion on regression. So we're using the wage data that I shared with you. Okay, so let's first load the packages. I'm sure you have loaded it. And in case you haven't loaded some of these packages like SchemR, HMISC, Broom, and Desk Tools, kindly load them now. In Psych, Pastex, OLSRR, Stargazer. I know we loaded them before. I think SchemR, yes, I think we loaded it also. Yung HMISC, I'm not sure. Broom and Desk Tools, I think these are new ones. So I'm going to, first I'm going to load Pacman so that I can make use of the pload function of Pacman. Right, I'll give you a few seconds to include in your loaded packages si SchemR, si HMISC, si Broom, tsaka si descriptive tools. And when you're done, kindly please chat so that I know I should continue already. So we're using these packages, si Psych, si Pastex, si HMISC, SchemR, si Broom, Desk Tools. These are for EDA, exploratory data analysis. OLSRR is for regression. Stargazer is for data presentation. Tidyverse is general, no? Also for EDA and data wrangling and data processing. Okay, some of you have responded, so I'll just wait, give your classmates a few more seconds. Only 6 out of 26 have responded so far. So while you're loading the packages, let me load the file. Okay, so just to check, my working directory, get working directory, is our project that we created here. To multiple regression. Okay, good. Thank you for your responses. So that I already loaded Tidyverse, so I can use read CSV. This comes from readr, and I don't need to put the file location because I have already loaded in my R project the wage dataset. So I can simplify my function to load the wage dataset, which is this one. Just make sure that column names is equal to 2. So I load this, and then I now get this one. So my wage dataset is now loaded into R. Okay. And we can automatically, it gives us some information about the data. It has 526 columns, 526 rows and 8 columns. It's a CSV file, comma separated values. That's why the delimiter is a comma. There are 3 character variables, race, gender, civil status, and 5 quantitative or numeric. Double ang type nila. They're given here. Okay, so let's now quickly take a look at some of the basic functions that we have learned. Structure and summary will give us, structure will give us information about metadata about the data. So it's a data frame. Okay, and you have here $education, which means that these elements of your wage data set, education, experience, they're part of wage, and they can only be accessed via wage. So to access education, for example, we type wage $, education. Okay, so aside from that, we know how to do some summary statistics. Summary for the quantitative or numeric values, it will give us the 0 percentile, that's the minimum, and the 100th percentile, that's the maximum. So that's first percentile, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, plus the mean. So that's for all the variables, numeric variables. For the character variables, you're only given the count, okay? But we can extract some information. For example, we can use the table function. Here, we're doing table, table wage, race, and then these are the three categorical variables in order to know the distribution and the different levels of these categorical variables. So you can see here for race, there are 54 non-whites among the respondents and 472 whites. Female, they're almost balanced. The male outnumber the females just by 22, unlike sa white at sa non-white. Sa married, mas maraming married kaysa sa single. So these are some basic raw information about our data. Okay, so let's. Your assignment was to try to look at some descriptive statistics. I hope you did that. So let's quickly discuss. From the psych package, we have the describe function, diba? Describe wage, and this function will give us some summary statistics about your data. Okay, so you have here all your variables, and then you have the number of the variable, the index number, the number of observations, the mean. Although ito class yung may asterisk, walang meaning yung mean dyan, no? Okay, it has no meaning because these are categorical variables. And so with the other quantitative variables here, walang ibig sabihin yan. Okay, and if you explore further, andito yung range. It's just the maximum minus the minimum. Skewness, okay, tells us whether our data, the preponderance of our data is to the left tail or the right tail. Kurtosis, the peakness of our data, and then also the standard error. Now these things we will not really discuss because, as I said, I'll be assuming that you know how to handle these things. This subject is not about basic statistics. This is all about regression and time series. Okay. Also, we can. For me, the only disadvantage about this is the format in which it's delivered, and then also these unnecessary values for the categorical variables. Okay, unlike, so let's use the HMISC package. Si HMISC meron din siyang describe function. Describe, so let's describe the wage. Okay, let's see what this will produce. So dito, it separates all the variables. Individual yung describe dito ni HMISC. Okay, for example, let's take a look at the first variable here, which is education. So it gives us the number, okay, the missing values, the distinct values, mean, I think this is the general, I'm not sure, great, but this is median. And then may ano tayo, value dito ng percentile, 5th percentile, 10th percentile, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, which is the medium, etc. Okay, and you can see here that the mean is to the right of the 12.56 yung mean, yung median is 12. So the mean is to the right. So that means that our data is skewed to the right, which means that ang preponderance, ang concentration ng mga data natin nasa left side. Kasi pag skewed to the right, ang concentration ng data natin nasa left. Okay? All right, so here are some other information. Ito yung frequency ng mga data Okay, on education, 0, 2, 3 hanggang 18. And you have the frequency there. And you can see here that ang pinakamarami is dun sa 12. No? Kaya nga, yan ang, kaya nga malapit dyan yung mean. Ayan, di ba? Okay. All right, then we go to experience and all the other variables. And then the race, it will not give us any descriptive stat, no? Sandali lang class, sorry. Sorry. Okay, so meron tayong mga numerical variables, and what's good about this is yung categorical variables, hindi siya nag-attempt na mag-compute ng mean, median, mode. No? So talagang counting lang siya, and the proportion. 54 are non-white, 472 are white, so ano lang siya, yung percentage. Okay. Gender and also civil status. All right. Okay, so there are other descriptive statistics functions that we can make use of. Meron din si psych, meron pa siyang, so let's see this. Psych, pwede natin gamitin si describe by. Describe by. So dito pwedeng bigay sa atin from the wage data natin, i-group yung data natin. Sorry, wage and then group by, kaya nga describe by. Group by natin kunyari, let's say gender. Okay. So lahat ng variables ni wage, lahat ng mga pwedeng statistical metrics ng wage by by gender. So separate yung male at saka female. So let's do that. And then you can see here, okay, first, so yung first group is female and then the second group is male. So itong unang output dito, these are for female, no? You can see here that yung average hourly wage ni female is 4.59. Okay, tapos yung education 12.32 years, experience 16.43. If you compare it, so 4.59, 12, 16. If you compare it with the male, you can see here that the hourly wage ng male, on the average, it's higher than the female. Okay, kasi 4.59 lang kanina. And then, halos pareho sa education, sa experience, mas marami si male, kasi 16 lang yata si female. 12.32, 12.79. So generally, mas malaki yung average education ni male, office experience, at saka yung hourly wage. Okay, so you can, of course, pwede din natin tingnan, for example, by by Control C, Control V. Ano yung isa kanina na natin? Okay, again, dito, no? By race, kaya tingnan natin. No? Again, the disadvantage of this is that it still includes itong metrics na to. No? Yung race, gender, may bibigay pa siya ng statistical. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vince. So let's try race. Tingnan natin kung ano yung differences. Okay, so first you have, ito yung mga non-white muna and then white. So tingnan natin tong non-white, ang average nila 5.48 hourly wage, no? If we compare that with white, 5.94. So medyo mas mataas yung sa white, no? And then 11.87 yung number of years of education ng non-white, 12 yung sa white. Okay, so now kung may of course, if we want to know if there's a statistical difference, a statistically significant difference between that, then may kailangang statistical test niyan para mag-infer tayo. We're only comparing based on the numerical values, no? If you want to really see if there's a difference between this averages from between, let's say, sa race or sa gender, then we will have to do some statistical test. Okay, so ano pa? So HMIS, Psych, let's see, Scheme R, no? Scheme R, I also like Scheme R. So we have Scheme. So we can make use of the Scheme function. So ganun din siya, no? So wage. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so ito nagsisegregate din siya, no? Okay, so data summary, data natin wage, number of rows 526, number of columns 8, and then character 3, 5. Okay, and then dito nakasegregate din yung mga computation. Although ito nga sabi ko, this doesn't make sense, yung 5 minimum at saka maximum. Number of unique, okay lang kasi dalawang levels, unique na race, unique na gender, dalawa. Okay, so ito. And then the white space. Okay, so for the quantitative variables, so this will make more sense, yung mga metrics ito. And you can also find here a plot, a histogram, a mini histogram. Makikita natin dito si education, medyo practically, parang approximately normally distributed. Pero itong mga to, diba? So if you take a look, for example, at the median ni experience, no? Median niya 13.5, mean niya 17. So the mean is over here, no? Over here. So nasa right ni mean yung nasa right si mean ng median. So you can see here that medyo skewed to the right yung ano natin, kaya nga yung skewness niya should be positive. If you once again take a look at this, yung skewness ni experience is okay, ito, no? 0.7. No? Okay, positive siya. So skewed to the right nga, which means yung concentration ng data natin is nasa left side. Okay, kaya nga when you take a look at this, yung histogram niya. Okay, again class, I'm not really focusing too much attention on this kasi these are basic statistics which it's expected that you know this. Kung nakalimutan nyo na, a little review will help class. No? Okay. So, sige. Let's, ano pa ba? Si Bloom pala, no? Si Bloom, may function siya na glance. Yan, no? Glance. So what does glance do? Objects exported from other packages. Okay. Tingnan natin na glance. And then wage. Ay, sorry. Not glance, but glimpse. Mali yung verb ko. Glimpse. Glimpse, sorry about that. Ay, hindi siya from Bloom. Wait, ha? Wait. From what package ba? Glimpse. Pillar. Okay, I haven't met this one before. Get a glimpse of your data. Deployer. Okay, let me see. Okay. Deployer. Deployer. Di rin. Ay, sorry. Deployer. Okay? So parang ano lang siya, no? Parang structure lang. Okay, so parang summary lang siya. So nothing much here. It just tells us education, experience, etc. Okay, nothing much dito sa dplyr. So I think I suggest that we put this one, Control X. Parang related lang siya dito, no? Dito sa summary natin. I better put that there. So these are more specialized functions. Okay, and there are a lot more. I just gave you some examples. Okay, so you can look for more functions like that. Okay, so let's go back here. And last time we learned that if we use the plot function and just identify the variables, for example, we're going to plot on the x-axis education and hourly wage on the y-axis, this will not work. Oops, sandali. Nag-work siya kasi, dali lang ha. Let me just detach. Naka-attach yata si wage sa akin. Okay. If I run this again, it will not work because R does not recognize si education at saka si experience. Okay, so dito, ang object natin kasi wage. So if you want to run this, just education and wage, then you have to make use of this function. Okay, wala na naman ako ha. I think nawawala yung ano ko. Share screen. Okay. Am I sharing now again? Because
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
okay, sorry, nag-disengage yung internet. Okay, so this one, the attach function will signal to R na yung mga any variable that you're using belongs to the wage function. Not wage function, but wage data, wage object. So if I run this, okay, wait. Hindi ko pala na ano. I-attach ko muna, tapos saka ako i-run to. Magpa-plot na yan. Okay? Magpa-plot na siya. So on the x-axis is education and hourly wage on the y-axis. All right. So if you're going to use other objects, make sure you detach. No? Advantages yung attach. Mamaya I'm going to show you. This is advantageous when when you're doing some functions and codes where the focus is really on one particular object. So pwede nyo gawin yun. And when you're done with that, mag-detach na kayo. So dinetach ko na class. If I run this, mag-error ulit ako. Nag-error ulit because of the detach. Okay? Okay, so let me comment this out. Comment ko lang siya. Okay, so the correct way to do it without attaching wage is you have to define your object. So wage, if I press $sign, lalabas dito, no? Parang intelligent siya. Alam niya kung ano yung laman ni wage. Alright, so I need education. So tab, and then here, wage, and then $sign. Okay, again, go down, and then number of dependents, hourly wage, and then tab. Okay, there. And I can put here the main title of the plot. So if I run this, okay, we have this. Okay. So here, you can see that may problema sa linearity to, no? Linearity ng natin, ng response variable natin, hourly wage, across different values of your X education. Okay. And may pagka-linear din naman siya, but we'll check the correlation. Tingnan natin yung correlation nito. Okay, so remember, class, the first condition is linearity of your data. Ibig sabihin, dapat si dependent variable natin, si Y, dapat linearly related with your X's, your independent variables. So we can make use of a function from the psych package, itong pairs.panels. So magandang ano to, no? Magandang graphical display to ng correlation, itong pairs.panels. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an object, wage1, tanggalin natin yung ano, let me view si wage. Okay, so let's remove, kasi meron tayo dito mga categorical variables, si race, si gender, si civil status. Hindi naman tayo pwede mag-create ng correlation. Okay, so useless lang na magsasama natin sa correlation siya. So why don't we just include all the quantitative variables? So 1, 2, 3, 4th column, third column, 4th, 5th, 6th, tatanggalin natin to. So let's create another object without these categorical variables. Okay, so let's call it, my instructions here is to call it as, saan na siya? Okay, let's call it wage1. So I'm going to create wage1, okay? And then we're just subsetting wage. Diba? Alam niyo mag-subset, diba? So we're going to include all the rows. Wala tayong babaguhin sa rows, pero sa columns, magtatanggal tayo. So negative C, 4 up to 6. So tatanggalin natin si columns 4 up to 6. Sa subset natin yung wage data set natin. Mag-create tayo ng bagong object called wage1. Okay? So let's run this. And then we now have this object wage1. Okay? If I click this, parang view yan. Okay? Wala na yung mga categorical variables. Okay, let me pause for a while and request your feedback if you're able to follow. I might be going too fast. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Feedback please, paki-chat ng yes kung na-create na yung wage1 na object natin. I'll give you a few seconds, please. I hope everybody's able to follow. Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, that's great. Great. Yeah, that's a big percentage of participation. All right, so let's now.
Sir, question po.
Yes.
Hi, sir. If we don't indicate na to be wage1, will it edit the main file na wage?
Sige, gawin natin yun, ha? Okay. Ang mangyayari dyan, kunyari hindi tayo naglagay ng wage1, ano? Magpiprint lang siya ng wage, ng object dito sa ilalim, na wala yung 4th up to 6. Kaso, walang object na makikreate, di ba? Kasi hindi natin inassign yun. Okay, so let's do that. If I run this, okay, what happened? Print lang niya dito. Diba? Education, experience, tenure, wala na yung categorical variables. Wala na siya. Pero dito, si wage, yun pa rin, 8 variables pa rin siya. Hindi naman natin pinalitan yung wage eh. Ang ginawa lang natin, nag-subset lang tayo. And we did not create an object, diba? Hindi tayo nag-assign ng isang object na may pangalan na wage1. So, andun pa rin si wage, okay? Print lang niya si wage na print lang niya yung subset ni wage. But we didn't create an object. Okay? Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So if we want to create that object, then mag-name ng object. So that's what we did. Wage1. Okay, sige. So we can now use wage1. Kaya naman natin ginawa yun para pag nag-pairs panels tayo. So this is from the psych package. Okay? Si psych package, marami siyang functionalities na maganda for descriptive statistics. Isa doon yung pairs.panels siya. Pairs.panels. Alright? So, ang gamitin natin sa pairs.panels, si wage1. Okay, pwede actually si wage. Kaso magkakaroon nga doon ng correlation dun sa mga categorical variables which makes no sense to us. No? Although tingnan natin, experiment natin yun, kung ano mangyayari. So let's run this and then you see here. Ayan. So this is a good printout. Okay, let me just zoom that. Okay. So you can see here a correlation matrix, no? A correlation plot between the between the independent variables. So, makikita natin dito yung yung mga plot ng bawat variable. Yan, yung bivariate plot nila. Tapos, you can see here the correlation. Sorry, ito yung univariate plot, no? Ito yung plot ni education, experience, tenure, number of dependents, at saka yung hourly wage. This one is the bivariate plot. Okay? So ito, bivariate plot ni education at saka ni experience. Okay, ito, education at saka tenure. Education at saka ito, hourly wage, no? Ito. Okay? So here also you can see the correlation. On the upper portion, you have here the correlation between hourly wage and education is 0.41. Okay, so among the correlations between hourly wage and the independent variables, si education ang pinaka-highly correlated. Number of dependents is very low, negatively correlated siya with hourly wage, negative 0.05. Ang susunod si tenure, 0.35, next to education, 0.35 siya. Experience, 0.11. So we can see here that si hourly wage and education, si education ang pinaka-highly, most correlated with hourly wage. So it will make sense also that siya yung most probably, no? Pinakamagandang predictor kasi siya yung pinakamataas na correlation with hourly wage. Ang least will be number of dependents. So si education, experience, at saka si tenure, they're positively correlated with your hourly wage. Si number of dependents, negatively correlated. Okay? So you can see here yung pairs dot panels. Maganda siya kasi pinapakita yung univariate plot. Ito. Yung nasa diagonal na to. This is the plot of each of the individual variables. And then on the lower part, you have your bivariate. Yung scatter plot nila. Okay? And then on the upper part, you have your numeric correlation. All right? Any questions, class, so far? Okay, you can see here, si education at saka si experience forming this, no? Forming this part here. Yung correlation nila, pababa, no? Yan, negative 0.3. Okay? Okay. Among the independent variables, ang may pinakamalaking correlation is experience and tenure. Yan, 0.5 siya. And as we said, we don't want high correlation between the independent variables. The rest are okay. The rest, itong next is education and tenure 0.3. Ang pinakamataas talaga itong experience at saka tenure. Okay, see, education and number of dependents, negatively correlated siya, no? Okay, so if you take a look at this, magpo-form tayo ng rectangle na ganito, no? Rectangle, yung mga kanto niya, yung mga corners, education, number of dependents, ito yung plot, ito yung correlation. So if you want to understand yung mga andito, just go to the rectangular relationship nila, no? Kunyari, experience at saka number of dependents, punta ka lang dito sa rectangle nito. Okay, and then the corners, no? Ito yung univariate na experience, univariate in number of dependents, bivariate nilang dalawa. So, kita nyo halos wala, oh. Halos straight line. And then as you can see here, it's 0.06. Okay? Ganon din si tenure at saka number of dependents. Although negative siya, pero practically zero, no? Mababa yung correlation. And that's what we want actually with your independent variables. Okay, any questions as far as the pairs dot panels is concerned? How do you like the pairs dot panels class? Visually and quantitatively, okay, I find this to be a good say output to analyze correlations among the variables. Any comments, class? Excuse me, I'll just go get water. Okay, thank you. All right. So, yeah, thank you, Vince. Difficult to understand. Okay. Seems very useful, especially yeah, correct. Tama, nung sinabi din ni John, when you want to check if there's a potential for multicollinearity. Yeah, graphically maganda siya, no? But of course, hindi natin masasabi kung multicollinear siya just by looking at that, no? We will have to do some statistical tests, and one of them is the variance inflation factor, yung VIF, which we're going to study in the future. Okay. Any other comments? Any other questions? Okay, so as I said, in order to appreciate this, ano lang, kunin nyo lang yung rectangle niya. Kunyari, si education at saka si tenure. Just follow the rectangle, and then yung mga corners, tingnan nyo. So that's, for me, that's what I do kasi mas madali. Kasi nakakalito pag ano no? Ano ba to? San ba to? No? Okay? So for example, ito, sundan nyo na lang kung asan yung nasa right niya, kung ano yung unang tatamaan na variable, tapos ano yung nasa taas niya. Experience and number of dependents yan. So i-highlight nyo lang yung rectangle na yan. Okay, yun. Okay, so for me, that's the easiest way to understand. Okay, now, what if, kung sinama natin class si, magra-run din naman yan kung sinama natin yung mga categorical variables. No? If we run that, okay. So, ano nangyari dito? Nagkaroon ka ng race, gender, at saka civil status. Right? So, kasama siya. Pero, kung titingnan natin, pinari itong race at saka civil status. Ito. It doesn't make sense. Ano yung negative 0.06 yan, di ba? Race, civil status, yung rectangle na yan. Eh, bakit siya may negative 0.06, di ba? May correlation ba yan? Itong gender at saka civil status. These are categorical variables. Ba't siya magkakaroon ng So apparently kasi, siya, factor din siya, no? So ang ginawa dyan, yung may naka-assign na value dyan, either 1 or 2, at saka 0 or 1. So based on those values, nag-compute ng correlation. And it doesn't make sense to compute that because these are just representations, no? Either 0 or 1 or 1 or 2. They're just representation of your categorical variables, no? Categorical values. That's why I said useless na, tapos nakaka-cloud na pa siya, nakaka-crowd out yung ibang mas significant. That's why I don't recommend you using pairs.panels with including the categorical variables. Better kung tanggalin nyo na siya. No? Okay, another one is ito, yung GG-ally. Okay, GG-ally. So hindi natin na siya kanina, no? So paki-install na lang. Install that packages. Alright? And then okay, nag-tidyverse tayo, no? So may GG-plot na tayo. So GG-ally. Okay, kasi this is related to GG-plot. So I won't do that anymore. In your case, paki-ano na lang. And then, i-library natin, library, GG-ally. Okay. Paki-library siya. And then we're going to use this. Itong GG pairs. No? GG. This is also a good, it will give us a good correlation matrix. GG pairs ng wage 1. Okay. Alright, so after ma-library nyo si GG-ally, pwede natin gamitin. So let me just put it here. This is coming from GG-ally para for you to remember, no? Itong GG pairs na to. Okay, so run this. Okay, it will take some time. Okay. So related siya dun sa pairs of panels, but I like this. Okay? I like the format kasi hindi mahirap maano, no? It's not difficult to dito ko na lang siya i-run nga sa console. Minsan mas madaling i-an sa console. Para yung plot niya para sa plots dito. Okay, but hindi siya ng plots. One more. Yan. Okay? Pag ayaw minsan umano class plots, ulitin nyo. No? So, either I zoom or i-export ko. No? So, for example, export ko to. Export, save as image. I can save it as JPEG or PNG, depends on you. JPEG ko na lang. No? Tapos, I can make it, ano to, wage 1, GG Ally. Okay, gawin ko lang ganyan title, no? And then, if I save this class, save, saan siya masisave? It will automatically save sa ano natin, sa our project natin. Ito. Asa na siya? Ito, no? JPEG. I have now access here. Okay? I have access there. May access na ako dito sa object na to, yung JPEG ng yung picture file ng ano ng okay? So, you can see here class that ganun din siya, only that mas formal siya kaysa ano no kaysa yung sa pairs yung panel pairs natin kanina. So ito you can see andito yung mga univariate plot, education, experience. Okay, what's good about this is that may label siya dito. So medyo mas madali siyang ma-pair, no? Okay, and mas ano siya, mas parang output friendly. Mas output friendly siya kaysa yung kanina. Okay? All right. Any questions, class, about this? Class, any questions? Okay, quick question lang, class. Huh? Okay, good. So far, class, may natututunan bang bago? Anything new? So far, although descriptive stat yung mga diniscuss ngayon, and although it was supposed to be your assignment, but nevertheless, I made sure that you have some ammunition. But please, class, do not just depend on this. No? Kasi it would be good for you yourself to explore more. No? Explore more how you can kasi assignment yung class yung first ano nyo regression modeling kasama dapat dun yung descriptive statistics and do not just depend on this. And please, when you submit your work, do not just put the output here ng descriptive statistics. Kailangan hindi pa pwedeng nakadump lang lahat yung output dun. Kailangan may ano yan, may explanation per ano. There has to be discussion. So usually yung mga mababang points na nakukuha sa mga ganyang activities sa akin are those who just run the code. Tapos yun na. Wala man lang discussion. So dapat yan, and do not dump all the output there. Dapat selective ka. Ano ba isasama natin sa ano? If you take a look at researches, hindi naman nila sinasama lahat ng descriptive statistics eh. Pumipili sila ng pinaka-critical ones. So you should be discerning. And ilalagay nyo kung ano yung importante para dun sa discussion ng paper nyo. Okay, so last time we looked at how to generate a linear model, regression model. So sabi natin, the way to go about it is to make use of the LM function. And it's best to create an object out of that. Okay, so mod 1 here, LM. Let's first do a simple linear regression. So hourly wage, regression, education. Bakit education ang inuna ko? Kasi, di ba, among all the variables, yung pinaka-related with hourly wage is education. Pinaka-correlated, 0.41. Next is tenure. No? Okay, that's why if we will only have a simple linear regression, education will be the most likely good predictor. Okay, data is equal to wage, and then if you put it in parentheses, what happens is that it will print out yung output. So I place it in parentheses and then take a look at this. So nagbigay siya ng general output. Ano yung general output niya? Yung name ng function at saka yung value ng coefficients. Alright? So if I really want, tapos we learned last time that yung model 1, list yan ang daming laman yan. Andito si coefficients. Okay, double, dalawa. This means this is a vector. Vector of 2. Okay? Si residuals, double din, 526. 526 yung laman niya lahat. If I click this, residuals, okay, ayan. Yan lahat ng values ng residuals. So 526 all in all. Kasi every actual value compared with your model value will have its residuals. Some may be very small, some may be very big. So depende dun sa model natin. Okay, let me minimize this. And then effects, again, ito, rank, fitted values, ito yung mga predicted values natin. Ito si y hat. Then si y hat. Okay, etc. So there are many things that we can get here. Ano naman tong model na to? If we click this, so ito yung model natin, di ba? Hourly wage at saka education. The value of your of the coefficients, parameters. Okay, so we said that the object mod 1 is a list. So we can get the names. Alam natin yung names yan. Ito, di ba? Yan. Yung 12 yan. Yan ang mga pangalan niya. And you can access each one of them. So for example, if I want to get the coefficients, I just have to type mod 1, no? And then $sign. So lahat ng objects sa model 1, okay, dollar, andi dito, no? Yan. If I want to, for example, get the coefficients, okay, and then we know that sa model 1, dalawa yung coefficient. No? Ito yung intercept at saka ito yung value ng parameter natin, yung coefficient. If I just want to get one, sa subset ko lang siya. So you can subset here. Yan. And you get yung value na to. Or I can get 2. Subset ko yung si 2. It will give me 0.41359. Okay? All right. And most important for us is yung summary function. Let me just close this muna. The summary function is very important for us. Close ko rin to. No? Okay, here, summary ng model 1. What do we get here? Okay, what we get here is a comprehensive output. First is the call. Ito yung formula natin. Then you have residuals, yung statistics niya, yung minimum, first quartile, etc. And then you have here the coefficients. Okay, ulitin ko to kasi hindi nagkasya. Okay, all right. So we have here the individual t-test, no? Individual t-test ng dalawang test dito class sa output natin. You have the overall goodness of fit test, ito, sa ilalim dito, overall goodness of fit test dito. Ang null hypothesis dito is, let me just write HO, is beta null is equal to beta 1 is equal to 0. So, yung F-stat dito, it addresses a null hypothesis. May sinasagot na null hypothesis yan. So this is what we call the overall goodness of fit test. Let me repeat, overall goodness of fit test. On the other hand, yung andi dito sa table natin dito, ito yung individual t-test. Dito, t-statistic ang kinocompute. Dito naman, f-stat. So magkaiba siya. Ito yung ANOVA. This is the analysis of variance. Ito naman yung individual t-test. So the null hypothesis here for your individual t-test is null hypothesis. Yung una, beta null is equal to 0. Tapos yung pangalawa, beta 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so dalawang test dito, no? This is testing beta null is equal to 0 and testing here beta 1 is equal to 0. All right, so we have here the values, no? Yung value ni intercept, negative 0.9. Okay, and what's the meaning of this? This is the value, okay? Okay, before I answer that, this value is not statistically significant. The rule is, sabi natin, when the P is low, the null must go. What do you mean by P is low? The low there means that you're comparing it to your level of significance. And usually the level of significance is 0.05. Saan nanggaling yun? Well, nanggaling yun kay Robert Fisher. Siya nag-develop nun, no? And kung anong basis, wala. So, ano lang siya, yung parang arbitrary lang siya. But it has stuck on, okay, and others have attempted to rationalize bakit 0.05. Okay, so we will not debate on that. Basta gagamitin din natin yon level of significance. So i-compare natin yung p-value, okay, with the level of significance. And sabi natin yung default natin 0.05. So this one, the p-value is 0.187. So this is much, much greater than 0.05. So therefore, ang conclusion natin dito, ang inference natin dito, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that beta null is equal to 0. We fail to reject that. Bakit, class? Bakit? Sabi natin, when the P is low, the null must go. We reject this. The null must go means we reject this. If P is less than 0.05. Kaso hindi eh. Our P here is greater than 0.05, so we fail to reject this. We do not say we accept the null hypothesis. We fail to reject it. Ano lang, hindi tayo nakakita ng evidence na beta null is equal to 0. Okay? All right. However, ang caveat dito, for the intercept, even if the p-value is not significant, we still include this in the model. Okay? If you recall, yung model natin last time, nung sinulat natin yung hourly wage. Okay, my question dito, what does the P represent in the data? Okay, and anyone would like to answer that? Ano ibig sabihin ng P-value dito? Anyone? What did you learn in your basic stat? Anyone would like to venture an answer? Ano ibig sabihin ng P-value dito? Roughly, class, that's the probability that class of what? Ano tong probability na to? Okay, kasi may interval tayo, class, no? We have an interval for the estimate of intercept. So dun sa interval na yun, meron tayong lower interval at saka upper interval. So ang hinanap natin dito, yung probability na in between these intervals, okay, so let me just, okay. Sige, next meeting, i-explain ko to ha. So we have this interval, no? We have the lower value and the upper value. Upper value ng estimate natin. Ito. Okay? Si 0.9045, nasa gitna siya. Negative 0.9. Okay? So apparently class, ang lower value nito is negative din. Pero ang upper value niya positive. Okay, so that means, is there a possibility na yung intercept na yan, na ang lower value niya negative, ang upper value niya positive, is there a possibility that it can be zero? The answer is yes. Bakit yes? Kasi yung lower value mo, negative, and then yung upper value mo is positive. Okay, so is there a possibility that the value of your intercept is zero? The answer is yes. Okay, so dun pumapasok yung concept ng probability. So it's the probability that your estimate, the real estimate, will be a zero is 0.187. So malaking probability yan. Eh ang gusto natin ang probability na maging zero siya is just 5%. This is our level of significance. Ito lang yung benchmark natin. Pero kung ang probability na pwede siya maging zero is 18.7%, ay hindi yun papasok hindi yun pwede sa standard natin. Kasi ang ginagamit natin na we call this yung alpha, yung level of significance. Ito lang yung gusto natin na level, na yung probability natin na yung mga parameters natin dito will be equal to zero. Okay? The probability here is 18.7% na pwede maging zero yung intercept. So that's unacceptable, no? Si education, ang probability niya, this is practically zero. Okay? So, itong na to, class, itong hypothesis na to, that beta 1 is equal to zero, we reject this. Reject natin to. Yung sinasabi natin na B1 is equal to zero. Kasi, the possibility that B1, this one, will be equal to zero is so remote. In fact, sabi natin, ano yung value na yan? Point, and then 0, 0, 0, mag-ano kayo ng 15 zeros, and then 2. So that's practically zero. Yun ang probability na yung value natin, na yung B1 natin is equal to zero. Okay, which is way less than 0.05. Okay, that's why we are rejecting the null hypothesis na B1 is equal to zero. Okay, now take note of this, 3 stars. Ano ibig sabihin nito? If you take a look at R, so the values between 0 and 1, ito yung spectrum natin, ano? Okay, so you have here 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you see 3 stars, ibig sabihin nun that your parameter is statistically significant at the 0.1%. 0.1% level. Okay? Or 0.001. Eh, ang gusto lang natin na significance 0.05 lang. So ito significant nga siya at 0.001. So that's very good, no? Very strong na statistically significant yan. If you see 2 stars here, dito, ibig sabihin nun, significant siya at 0.01, at 1%. And if you see 1 star here, dito, it means that it's significant at 0.05. So ang minimum natin requirement is 1 star, significant at 0.05. If you see a dot, ibig sabihin significant siya kaso at 10%. Okay, so depende dun sa experiment natin. If we strictly follow the 0.05 level of significance, then pag may dot yan dito, kunyari dot dito, dot, so malamang pwedeng yan 0.08 kunyari, no? 0.08 yung probability niya. So that yan plus. Ibig sabihin significant siya pero at 10%. Okay, and it depends on the standard natin sa research. If usually it's 0.05, so in that case we fail to reject the null hypothesis that your B1 is equal to 0. Okay, did that answer your question? Vince, nasagot ba yung question mo?
Sir, yes po. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige. Thank you. Thank you for that question. All right, so balik na ako dito. Clear all drawings. Okay, close ko na to. Okay, so na-explain ko na to class, yung 3 stars na yan. It means that our p-value is significant at 0.001 or at 0.1%. which is very good kasi sabi natin, ang minimum natin ito, 0.05. Okay, so, and then this one, okay, we'll discuss this next meeting na lang ito. But again, sabi ko, itong F-stat na to, okay, degree of freedom 1, degree of freedom 2. So, dalawang degree of freedom yan. Okay, we will discuss that more next meeting. Okay, we have here DF1, degree of freedom 1. Sabi niya, on 1 and 524, DF degrees of freedom. So, dalawang degrees of freedom to sa F-stat. Okay? And once again, class, hindi ko na masyadong i-explain to kasi reviewin na lang yung, yung mga stat nyo dati. So, ang degree of freedom number 1 dito is your equal to K. K is the number of predictors. Tapos ito naman, this is N minus K minus 1. Okay, so degree of freedom 1, K refers to the number of predictors, which is isa lang, sa education. Di ba, isa lang yung predictor natin sa education lang. If we had 3 predictors, then degree of freedom 1 natin magiging 3. Okay, and this one naman, DF2 is N minus K minus 1. What's your N? Number of observations, which is 526. Okay, minus K, which is this one, ilan yung predictors? 1. And then also minus 1 to account for, we also lose degree of freedom because we're also computing for the intercept. Yung K kasi natin, yung predictor lang natin yan, hindi yung intercept natin. So our degree of freedom 2 is N minus K minus 1. So 526 minus 1, that's 524. And you need to know these 2 degrees of freedom bago natin makompute yung F-stat. Okay, and once we have computed for the F-stat, makukompute na natin yung p-value. So again, ano ibig sabihin ng p-value na to? It will answer this question. Ito. Yung joint test of significance. Joint siya kasi magkasabay yung B0 at saka B1. So anong conclusion natin? With the p-value practically equal to 0, so we reject this. No? Reject natin to. Reject that null hypothesis that B0 is equal to B1 is equal to 0. Okay, we reject that. We are statistically confident that at least one of this is not 0. Okay, at kahit isa lang dyan, non-zero. And we know that that's your B1, no? Kasi yung B1 natin, statistically significant, 0.54 siya. Okay? All right. Any questions, class, so far? Questions? Okay, sige, ako magtatanong. Clear ba so far? Paki-chat naman, please. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. Now, mag-konting review tayo kasi I'm not so sure if in your stat you learned how to compute for this. So if not, then this is a good time for us to... Dali, nakashare pa ba ako? Okay. All right. To at least know how was this computed? At least for a simple linear regression. So dito, paano ba na-compute to? And I'm going to share with you the formula. So itong LaTeX na lang. No? Copyhin nyo to. Okay, I'm going to put this in the chat box. And then ilagay nyo sa file nyo. Okay, maglagay din kayo ng $$ dyan so that you can see the formula to compute for your beta 1. This is your B1. Okay, so tingnan natin yung formula na to. So it's just equal to x1. What's x1? This is your independent variable. No? This is your education. Minus the average of education. And then multiply that by, cross-multiply natin sa, okay, this is your y sub I. This is your hourly wage minus your average of hourly wage. And then yung cross product niyan, isa sum up natin. Okay? And then i-divide natin ng, so this is, okay, this is your education minus average ng education squared. And then isa sum up natin. Then yung result nito, okay, i-divide natin dito to get your beta 1. And we should be getting yung 0.541. Okay, so let me raise ko muna to. Okay, and then, all right. Sige, let's do this very quickly. Isa-isahin natin, no? Paano natin ma-access sa XI class? X1 is, X sub I is your education. Can I just write education here? Answer, please. Can I just write education here? And by the way, let me just share this with you. Baka makalimutan ko. Control C. Ito naman yung para to compute for your beta null, your intercept. Yan. May binigay akong dalawang formulas, LaTeX formula and class. And that should print this out. You can see the beauty of LaTeX. No? Just have to learn this. Okay, actually, madali lang yan, no? /hat/beta1. So yung hat, ito yon. Hat. /beta_1. Itong /beta, that's your Greek character. And _1, that's your subscript. Ganun lang. Tapos yung underline dito, yung division, ano yan? /frac. Fraction siya. Okay? All right. Sige. So, let's do this. Second formula is the formula for the intercept. Okay, binigay ko na, no? Yung una, formula for the first one is the formula for the parameter, si B1. And the second one, iran nyo class, iran nyo. Makikita nyo naman na naka-beta null yan. Yan. So beta null is your intercept, di ba? Okay. So, sige, gawin natin to class, no? Kasi kaya natin kay Aryan. Kaso class, anong gagawin natin dito? Sa X1 ba, pwede ba natin lagay dito na education class? So education minus education, mean of education, di ba? Will this run class? Education minus mean of education. Kindly chat, please. Kasi education minus mean of education. Will that run? Okay, answer is no. Bakit no? Bakit no, class? It will not run. Bakit? We answered that a while ago, class. Tingnan nyo dito sa objects natin. Oh. Bakit siya hindi mag-run, class? Kasi, yes, correct. Thank you, John. It will not recognize education. Ano education? Wala namang education dito sa mga objects. Ito lang, class, yung mara-recognize si R. Okay? That one. Walang education dyan. So what do we do with this? What do we do with it, class? Come on. You know the answer, class. Okay, correct, no? Dapat i-ano natin si wage. Kaso, pag isa-isahin natin si wage dyan, wage and $sign hourly wage, matagal yan, no? So this is where, control C muna. This is where the attach function comes in very handy. Attach wage. Na-attach natin and then control V. Saka natin kunin to. All right? So let me first try education minus mean of education. Will this run? Yes, it will run. And what do we have here? Ano to, class? Ano to? Di ba si education, ano siya? Ito. Si education class, 526 observations yan. Huh? So this one, 11 minus mean of education. Okay, ano ba yung mean of education? If we get the mean of the education and then 11 minus the average of education, it will give us this one. Okay, negative 1.56. Tapos ito naman number 2, 12 minus average, no? Should be 0.56. So yun, class. No? 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So we will be having 526. Ito 525th element, ito yung 526. All right? But that's not what we want, no? Ang gusto natin is, okay, so, ano ko lang to So, di ba na-attach natin si wage, right? Okay, so, I must from attach wage. Wait lang. Bakit naging ganun? Attach wage. Following are must from the wage. Must. Bakit na must? Okay, anyway, sige. Close ko na siya. So, naka-attach na tayo, no? So, gawin natin yung formula class. So, yung kanina, x minus x bar, so that's education minus mean of education. And I need to put that in parentheses. Kasi, oops, i-multiply ko siya with, ito naman, y sub I. So si y sub I, open parentheses, that's your hourly wage minus mean of hourly wage. Okay, and then close ko na. Yan. And then, what do we do with this? Okay, after multiplying, we get the sum. So sum up natin to. I'm going to put here sum, open parentheses, and then close parentheses. And so this is the numerator. Okay, so if I run that formula, so I have 2179.204. Okay, for the benefit of those who are unable to follow, okay, chat ko dito, class, para ma-compare nyo, no? All right, so that's our numerator. How about the denominator? Eh, ganun din yun. No? Okay, in fact, pareho lang siya nito eh. Ang naiba lang class, may squared lang siya. So it will be, ito yun, no? Ito yun siya. So C. So it will be education minus mean of education. Open and close parentheses, square natin. Okay, so ni-square natin siya. No? Itong buong to, naka-square. Tapos may sum tayo dito. So put here, sum, open parentheses, and close parentheses. Okay, so that will be your denominator. All right, so we just divide this. No? Okay, so let's create an object called B1, alt minus, and it will be the numerator. This is our numerator, control C, control B, divided by the denominator. So, sama natin to. Control C, control V. All right? So that will be our B1. Okay, so kindly run that class and compare if we got the value of the estimate for B1. So very convenient dito yung nag-attach tayo, no? Kasi we don't need to use yung wage. So feedback, please. Did you get? You should be getting itong 0.54. Okay, good. Thank you. So waiting for the others. Okay. Thank you, class. Okay, good. Keyboard command to make shift 6. So yung yung exponent, no? Yung caret siya. Shift and then 6. This one. Okay, sige. Thank you for asking. All right. So that's B1, no? And if I run this, we should be getting, oops, I print B1 0.541, which is the same as this value here. Okay? So at least class, hindi na sa atin foreign tong kung paano kinompute yan. May formula yan. And how was this formula generated? This was generated based on minimizing your squared residuals. So you use calculus to come up with this equation. Okay, so ito ginamitan ng calculus para ma-generate itong B1 na to. Kaya hindi invento yung formula na yan. It was drawn out of the fact that we would like to minimize yung residual squared. Okay, gusto natin ma-minimize yung residual squared, and I won't show anymore the calculus of that, but ito yung na-generate na function. Okay, so based on that, ito yung B1 natin. And our beta null, ito. No? So let's compute for this. Diretso na, madali na lang to. B null, alt minus, it's your mean ni hourly wage, di ba? Ito yun. No? And then minus, this one is your B1. Yan, meron na tayong B1, no? And then multiplied by that, by the mean ni education. Yan, class. This is the formula. Mean of hourly wage minus your parameter times the mean of your predictor, in this case, education. So, oops, hindi ko na print, beta null, negative 9.048. That's it. Yan. Ito yan. Okay, any questions, class? Did you get the beta null? So pag simple linear regression, medyo madali. Pag multiple, medyo mas challenging na yun. So we will not go into that. I just wanted to show you for simple linear regression how this was computed, and we were able to show that, which is good. At least parang hindi foreign sa atin. Nako-compute yan using a certain formula. Okay. I will leave you guys to as an exercise to compute for the standard error. So I'll give you the formula. Ano oras? Ay, time na ba, class? Is it time?
Yes po.
Ay, naku, sorry. Time na pala. Ibigay ko lang yung formula ng standard error, Okay. Very sorry about that. I'm sorry, I lost track of time. 270 na pala. Okay, so this is a standard error. Control C sa chat. Paki-compute to, class, as your practice, no? I-compare nyo sa standard error. This is the standard error for your intercept. And makikita nyo naman dito yan, no? And standard error ng beta null. And lastly, ito, standard error ng beta 1. Control C. Control V. All right. Okay, so it's already time. Let's end here. I'm going to stop recording.